Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Imam Morsy.
Walaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you today?
Yeah, fine. I'm fine, thank you. Jazakallah khair.
As you know, our subject today is education and how Islam views education. So I'd like to start by asking you, what does Islam say about knowledge of worldly matters like medicine, engineering, building construction, business, and things like this?
Yeah. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man walah wa ba'd. First of all, I would like to just clarify this point. It's not about the dunya knowledge or knowledge of this dunya, but first of all, let us talk about how Quran encouraged people to seek knowledge for in general knowledge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we look at the Quran, for each chapter of the Quran, we will find the word of knowledge with the different word but related to knowledge, al-ilm, or related to education. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, for every single chapter, He mentioned the word of knowledge. And even for some chapters, He mentioned the word of knowledge more than 7 times. If we look at this word in the Quran, we will find almost 779 times Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked about knowledge in the Quran. This is in general knowledge. Could be knowledge of deen, could be knowledge of dunya, knowledge of ilm al-dunya or ilm al-akhirah. And the first word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, iqra, read. Even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he wasn't literate. He was illiterate. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded him, read, O Muhammad, iqra, bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. This is the first word was revealed from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It will give us this big idea about the importance of knowledge in Islam. Also, when we look at the Quran, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked to His angels about our forefather Adam, the story, most of Muslims, they knew this story, but just I would like to clarify something about this story. وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told His angels about the Khalifa in earth or in the land, our forefather Adam, they asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how come to put him as a Khalifa, as a leader? And the descriptions of Adam and his sons, they are killing each other and they have this bad actions. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala replied to them for this important word, قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. I know. This is the word of knowledge now. قال إني أعلم ما لا تعلمون. And He taught Adam, وعلم آدم الأسماء كلها. And all these verses in the Quran, through these chapters in the Quran, it will give us this important message for us as a believers, as a followers of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, to learn as much as we can, especially with the knowledge of deen, with the knowledge of Islam, to know how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's very important. Also, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ explained this authentic hadith. He said, peace be upon him, طلب العلم فريضة على كل مسلم ومسلمة. Seeking knowledge is obligatory action upon every single Muslim, male or female. And he didn't mention طلب العلم. Which kind of ilm? Which kind of knowledge? Could be the knowledge of deen and could be the knowledge of dunya. To be a doctor, to be engineer, to be a scientist, to be whatever you can help your community out, whatever you can help your brothers and sisters in Islam, even if you help your society it's as encouragement from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam to learn how to be helpful for others through the knowledge that you learned, through the knowledge that you have in your life.
Good.
It makes sense?
Yes, very good. So the Muslim should seek knowledge, all kinds of knowledge that are useful for themselves and the people around them. This is very good.
Yeah.
Now, what do you say about someone who has a lot of knowledge about things like chemistry, computer science, business, construction, and various other kinds of these types of knowledge, but they either don't know the basic knowledge of Islam, or they didn't verify with people of knowledge what they learned from their parents or their culture, that they didn't make sure that their knowledge is accurate and complete, the basic knowledge of Islam.
Yep. Yeah, I'm very shy for those people or this kind of people. How come they have all this knowledge and they still miss the knowledge of Islam or the knowledge of Quran? And really it's complicated a little bit for me for those people when they have this type of knowledge. Yeah, I think it will be good for them if they just think about this knowledge, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helped them out to learn this amazing knowledge in this life or in this dunya, but what they need just to have a little bit different intention in their life to help others through this knowledge, and they will gain reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's good to have knowledge, even the knowledge of dunya. It's good sign for this person, but this person still needs to encourage himself or herself to have different intention, to serve people around him through his knowledge, and to in the other way to learn as much as he can the knowledge of Islam or the knowledge of Deen, how to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, how to pray. How many times should I pray every day? Why we should pray every day to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Why we should pray in this certain time? Inna salata kanat ala al-mu'minina kitaban mawquta. Why? And yeah, in his position, in this very high stats position in knowledge of dunya, he must have the other knowledge also for deen, for religion of Islam, to be proud of himself, because he has the knowledge of dunya and he must has the knowledge of deen, and both of them go together in the same level, just to be fair. How come to learn the knowledge of dunya or temporary life and to skip or to remain silent about the knowledge of deen or the knowledge of Allah, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded us to learn this knowledge? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talked in the chapter of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said, فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. You have to know, O Muhammad, and any order came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, this is the command for all Muslims after that. فَاعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. You have to know there is no one has right to be worshipped but Allah, and this is as a command or as order from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And through this knowledge, it's okay to learn the knowledge of dunya, the knowledge of temporal life, but first of all we have to have the knowledge of deen. Yeah, this is the good opportunity for those people already they have knowledge of dunya, just to have a different intention or other intention to have the knowledge of deen or knowledge of Islam. Yeah.
It sounds like part of what you're saying is that if people already have worldly knowledge, they can get more benefit
Yes.
from it if they also have the religious knowledge to
Yeah.
make the correct intention
Exactly.
and use it for Allah.
And they will have intention for worldly knowledge to serve other people and to help other people. They will gain reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for their knowledge, inshallah.
Very good. So the two of them are
Yeah.
both beneficial.
Yeah.
Very good. Now, how can someone balance seeking knowledge about religion with seeking knowledge about worldly matters?
Yeah, it's very good question, for especially for young people or youth when they study hardly in the college or in the high school, or this time really so hard for them to focus for the knowledge of dunya, and too hard for them to make all the time for the knowledge of Islam or to learn the knowledge of Deen. But if they take both of them together, yeah, for if I study for worldly knowledge, I can take reward for this knowledge if I have intention. I'm gonna study this knowledge because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded me to be a famous person in this dunya, to help others. But if they study in knowledge of dunya and the knowledge of deen, what we need for the knowledge of deen, just to have the basic things about the knowledge of deen, how to pray, how to recite Quran, how to pay zakah, how to perform hajj or pilgrimage, and just the basic for the pillars of Islam. And slowly they can learn about more details in the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with the knowledge of dunya. I'm not saying just to leave the knowledge of dunya away and you have to study in the knowledge of deen. No, we can take both of them together, but at least for the knowledge of deen, we have to know the basic things about the knowledge of deen or the knowledge of Islam. With the knowledge of dunya or the worldly knowledge, yeah, they must do very good job in this knowledge to be famous and to show other people how Islam encouraged Muslims to be good and to be helpful for others around them. Yeah.
This is good for the face of Islam.
Yeah, exactly.
If
to convey the message of Islam by our actions.
But it's also not by being a good Muslim.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, inshallah.
So, Imam, if I can ask you one more question, what advice do you have for Radio NooR and some of our listeners?
Yeah, really, I wish if this word I can give to all the Muslims in our community, in Grand Rapids community. Really, we were talking about the Islam or the Islamic knowledge. Just I mentioned for the Salah or how to pray, how to give in zakah. But really, I forgot to mention very important point for Islamic knowledge, the knowledge of Aqeedah. Because really it's for a lot of Muslims, they do not know the knowledge of Aqeedah in with the correct way. Maybe because of our cultures or the countries that we came from. But really it's very important when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu about this knowledge. He said, فَعْلَمْ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا اللَّهِ. We mentioned this verse before, but it's very important for us to know there is no one has right to be worshipped but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without association with him. And this is very important for us. We have so many different ways for Muslims to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu mentioned when some companions asked him, there is so many groups of Muslims, all of them will enter to hellfire except one group only. And the companions asked him, can you explain for us this group or the attribute of this group or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam? And he said, who will do the same thing I do today and my companions. And all these different groups under the name of Islam, just to be careful. Do not say, I will follow this certain group in Islam or other group or other names. Just to follow the Quran and the Sunnah. When you want to take some advice, just search in the Quran, do research about the verses in the Quran or interpretation of the meaning of the Quran or the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But you have to know there is no way, there is no other way for Muslims to learn the knowledge of Islam different than the Quran and the Sunnah. All the other ways only as explanation for the verses of the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When you find something not clear for you, just return back to the main source that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us, the Quran and the Sunnah, to be clear for this way. Also, just if we can follow up with this program, I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make this program very strong and very famous program, inshallah azza wa jal, talking about Islam. And I think it will be very useful time for all of us to learn from this time, inshallah azza wa jal. Every Sunday. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will help all of us out to be role model in our religion and to be helpful for others, even Muslims or non-Muslims. Allahumma ameen.
Ameen.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming, and of course you're welcome again anytime.
Yeah. Thank you so much, brother. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.